How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today, I thought I would do a little bit of a review for the Invincible comic book series because the Invincible well right now is dry AF, and I just want to talk about Invincible. We're, anxiously awaiting season 2, and for Invincible content, I guess today we'll just talk about the comics, but in case there are non-comic book readers watching this video, I'm not going to be going into any spoilers, just so more people will be able to watch the video. And, I guess let's just get into the review. Overall, what are my thoughts on this series? It is great and has become one of my favorite comics out there, actually. Now, I'm a huge fan of Robert Kirkman, mainly because of his work with The Walking Dead. I absolutely love The Walking Dead, as I'm sure most of you are aware at this point, and I obviously love the comics for that series, and I had never read this before until recently, and I was like, man, I gotta check this out because it kind of felt like a perfect storm in many ways. This is Robert Kirkman, this is the superhero genre, and they are coming together, and I love Robert Kirkman's writing. I think he's just fantastic. He's one of my favorite creators out there, and so I was really excited for this series, and it delivered on pretty much every aspect. I don't think it's an absolutely perfect comic series. I think there are some slight problems with it, mainly in terms of the amount of characters, and I kind of feel like there's some filler elements throughout. Not many, but that's about all the negatives I have with this series. I mean, I just think sometimes the focus is on certain characters I don't really care about, and when a character like Omni-Man is missing for like 10 issues in a row, it gets kind of annoying because Omni-Man might actually be my favorite character in the series. I don't know if it's either him or Mark. I can't decide, but I love the character of Omni-Man, and when he's not in the story sometimes and is in kind of more of a backseat position, I'm like, damn, I miss Omni-Man. And I do think sometimes that this story definitely focuses on certain characters that I'm not like a huge fan of. I don't really hate any of the characters, but sometimes I'm like, okay, can we get back to this storyline, please? Or can we get back to this? Like, it's just sometimes that bothers me. Another great thing about this series is that you have the amazing artwork done by Ryan Ottley. I don't think he drew everything. I forget the other artist's name, but I'm pretty sure he did the majority of this comic. And Ryan Ottley, man, there is just some beautiful art in here and just great drawings. It's beautiful. It's just awesome. And obviously this series is very gory and bloody, and Ryan Ottley draws that very well. And it's very cool, but gruesome and brutal to look at. But overall, the story for this series is very good. I mean, the character of Mark Grayson, without me going into too many spoilers, he has such a magnificent character arc and character journey, and he goes through so many things in this series that by the end, you're just like, wow, wow, wow. It is, there's so much tackled in this story. And it's very interesting. One thing I really like about this story is that it really kind of examines the realness of being a superhero. And, there are many comics that have done this in the past, like Watchmen, or even in, like, The Boys. I haven't read The Boys, but I've seen the show, obviously. And kind of just examining it through that lens. And this series, though, kind of examines it a bit differently, really showing the morally gray areas that certain characters start to linger in a little bit, especially with the character of Mark Grayson. I mean, there's many moments in this story where, is he really a hero anymore? Like, what's going on? He kind of becomes a little, not evil, but it's just morally gray, and it's very interesting, and it tackles that in a very real way. I mean, there's many moments in this series where a villain or some other character is like, we need to kill these people for the greater good so we can create a perfect utopia, sort of thing. And that is a recurring theme throughout the series, and I think it's very interesting. Again, this has been tackled in other medias before, in other shows, other movies, other comics, but I think the way it's handled in Invincible is really interesting, especially with all these characters and all these superpowered beings. It's very interesting in my opinion, and it is a recurring theme where it's like, oh, we need to sacrifice these people or kill these people, blow up this city so we can have a perfect utopia and a better world. And I think that's just so complex and interesting. And Mark, as a character, really struggles with that throughout the course of the series. And again, his character arc, his character journey is very awesome, very interesting. And I love the character of Mark Grayson as a whole. He's one of the best protagonists of any story I've seen, especially in comics. I don't think I like him quite as much as Rick Grimes. But he's very interesting as a character, and yeah, just everything he goes through in this story is absolutely fantastic, and I love it. And then throughout the story, you also have many plot twists and shocking moments. There might be some shock value elements thrown into here. I mean, I'm familiar again with Robert Kirkman's kind of way of storytelling. And in The Walking Dead, comparing it to that, there are some moments where it's like, oh, this is just kind of here for shock value. I don't know. Not really a bad thing, but you can definitely kind of tell a little bit where there's like certain plot twists that happen all throughout the story in Invincible. And, it's exciting, though. It kind of always keeps you on your toes. You never really know what's going to happen next. And that is something I absolutely love about the series, is that, yeah, you kind of always are on the edge of your seat and kind of keep wanting to flip pages to see what happens next. I mean, I read these in the compendium, and I busted through one of those in like one day, and those compendiums are magnificent, but they're also just giant, and it took me a little while to get through them, but then I kept wanting to read more and more and more, and that's just one great thing about this series, is that it just makes you want to keep seeing what's going to happen next with the story, and that's just that's a good sign. If a story can make you want to do that and continue reading, continue seeing what's going to happen next, that's always a good thing. And yeah, I love the characters in this overall. Apart from Invincible Mark Grayson, you have Adam Eve. She's interesting. His relationship with certain characters, Mark, he's a little bit of a player. He gets with some girls in this story. And me as an incel, I'm just kind of like, all right, I can't relate to this. But there are a lot of characters in here, and I love it. You have the character of Robot. He's one of the most complex characters in here as well. And as I mentioned, Omni-Man's one of my favorite. You have some great villains. Like later in the series, you have a villain called Thrag. I won't go into too much detail about him, but Thrag is kind of the main antagonist, I think, of the whole series to a degree, especially towards the end. But yeah, I really like the character of Thrag, and he's a great villain, and yeah, there's just awesome characters in here. It's a great story, and I was really shocked by this series overall, because I wasn't expecting to like it this much, but I do like it, and it's very good. I if you haven't read it, I definitely recommend checking it out, because it is just awesome, and if you like superheroes and all that, of course, you'll enjoy it. But really good comic overall. If I had to rate it out of like 10, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. It's not 100% perfect in my opinion, but I do love it quite a lot. But if you have read the comic, let me know down in the comments your thoughts on it. And yeah, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.